Welcome to week one of Bible Studies for Life for the summer of 2023. We're starting a brand new quarter and going to be diving into some great passages in this quarter in Bible Studies for Life. I think you're going to enjoy this. The first part, we're going to be talking about mentors and those that influence us. And so we kind of be looking at it from both sides. I want you to think about both how to be a good mentor and then the value of having somebody that can pour good advice, good counsel into your life. So both of those will be a part of what we look at here for the first 6 weeks of this quarter, looking at different stories throughout Scripture. Okay, before we dive into this passage, if you haven't already, be sure and hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share it with other people. We appreciate it if you do that. And if you want to help support the ministry that we have going on in both teaching and in the mission work that we do, then you can just go to this website here at give.exposedtochrist.com and you can contribute there. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, so we appreciate it. Anybody that wants to help support that. All right, let's look. We're in Exodus chapter 18, a great story here about Jethro and Moses. It says, Jethro rejoiced over all the good things the Lord had done for Israel when he rescued them from the power of the Egyptians. Blessed be the Lord, Jethro exclaimed, who rescued you from the power of Egypt and from the power of Pharaoh. He has rescued the people from under the power of Egypt. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods, because he did wonders when the Egyptians acted arrogantly against Israel. Jethro is Moses' father-in-law. So Moses spent 40 years of his life basically with Jethro. He was there helping him as a shepherd when he'd fled from Egypt, and then he'd met Jethro, fell in love with his daughter, married her, and stayed there for 40 years. That's where he was when God called him from the burning bush. And Jethro, we know, is a priest of Midian. We don't know what that means as far as what his belief was, what God he served, or all of that. What we know here clearly, though, is Moses bringing the people out of Egypt has reunited with Jethro, is that he is a follower of the Lord now. He says he rejoiced over what the Lord had done. He rejoiced over what the Lord had done. He was happy about this. This was a good thing that he had seen the way the Lord had acted, how the Lord had delivered the people. He talks about them being rescued, right? He says, blessed be the Lord. This is a statement of faith. This is a statement of Old Testament belief and trust in God, right? It's a statement of Israelites. It's what Israelites would say. And then he says this, now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods. Okay, we don't necessarily need to read this as Jethro was not sure before, and now I know, but it can just be a statement of fact, of a reaffirmation of fact. So I don't know that we can read this and say, well, Jethro now became a believer in Yahweh, but we can read it and say clearly at this point, Jethro is a believer in Yahweh, right? Whether he was before or not, we can't say. We don't have the information for that, but we can say now that he is, and he's made this a public celebration with the Israelites that they've come out of Egypt. Okay. Now, just tell you that in your books, it doesn't list verse 13 here. It just starts at verse 14. I just don't know how we can just start there. To me, you've got to know what verse 13 is to make sense out of what happens in the following part. Okay, the next day Moses sat down to judge the people, and they stood around Moses from morning until evening. When Moses' father-in-law saw everything he was doing for them, he asked, what is this you're doing for the people? Why are you alone, sitting as judge, while all the people stand around you from morning until evening? Okay, so the deal is set up where the people are coming to Moses and letting him settle their disputes. Now, we don't have solid numbers. We don't know how many people came out of Egypt, but at the low end of this is several 100,000. At the high end, maybe a few million. So we're not quite sure what that number is, but it is significant. And Moses he's the authority. He's acting as the judge. He'll be the one. So when they have disputes, when they have disagreements, they come to Moses. And you see this, that he does this from morning until evening. That means he does it all day long. They come to him. And Jethro says, what are you doing? What, I mean, what is this you're doing? Why are you alone sitting as the judge? Everybody's standing around you from morning until evening. Why is this happening? And Moses replied to his father-in-law. He says, well, because the people come to me to inquire of God. Whenever they have a dispute, it comes to me, and I'll make a decision between one man and another. I teach them God's statutes and laws. So they got a question, they've got a dispute. I'm the one who settles it. I'm the judge, and I teach them. God's statutes and laws. Okay, so he says I'm laying out for them. That's what I'm doing, and he does it all day long. Now, I love the counsel that he gets from Jethro at this point. Okay, let's look at verses 17 to 19. Now it says, "What you're doing is not good." Moses says, "This isn't right. This is not good," and he gives him some good reasons for this. Moses' father-in-law said to him, "You will certainly wear out both yourself and these people who are with you, because this task is too heavy." He says, "You're going to wear people out. You're wearing out more than just yourself. You're wearing out the people as well. That it's exhausting for them, right? You're wearing out yourself and these people. They're having to wait in line all day. It's exhausting for them to stand in line. Been there? We know what that's like, right? Where you go somewhere and you just waiting all day and it just wears you out. Plus, Moses is having to work all day to talk to every one of these, and he might feel rushed. He might feel that he can't get done what he needs to get done as far as dealing with this one particular issue because he's got all these other people waiting to be heard. Right? He says, "This is not good. You can't do it alone. Now listen to me. I will give you some advice, and God be with you. You be the one to represent the people before God and bring their cases to him." Okay, he says, "I'm going to give you some advice here, right? You be the one to represent the people before God and bring their cases to him." Moses, this is what you can do. And it is this kind of this rule. There are some things that only you can do. Those are the things that you need to do. There are things that other people can do. Let them do that. But there are some things that only you can do. And Moses, you are the only one that has been designated as their representative to go to the Lord on their behalf. That's what you need to be doing. Don't get caught up in doing all of these other things, right? Then he says to him, instruct them about the statutes and the laws. Teach them the way to live. Here's the thing you can do. You can do instructing and teaching about the way to live and what they must do. But you should select from all the people able men. Select able men who are God-fearing, who are trustworthy, who hate dishonest profit, and place them over the people as commanders of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. Find some good men and let them be the judges. And create this structure, right? You've got the ones who are over thousands, ones who are over hundreds, one who are over 50s, ones who are over 10. You've got a structure, a hierarchy of leadership so that people can bring stuff to the lower group. And if they don't like that, they can go up. And if they don't like that, they can go up, then they can go up. And then, you can deal with the things that are really difficult that they can't settle. He says that in the next passage. But Moses, you need to do what you're called to do, which is to represent the people before God and to represent God before the people. Tell the people what God says, what his laws are, his statutes, because Moses, you're the only one called to do that. And go before the Lord on their behalf, because Moses, you're the only one called to do that. But this other work, this is not your work. This is not what you've been called to do. Well, this is tremendous counsel, isn't it? There are a couple of problems. I mean, you go back at this and you see this, what you're doing is not good because you're wearing people out. What he doesn't say explicitly in there, but he implies in this statement is, and you're not getting done the thing that you're supposed to do because you're so busy doing these other things. Now, we could talk about time management and the value of that and kind of the teaching that Jethro gives Moses about how to manage his time and about leadership as far as, how to create structure so that you can do this. You can't lead these hundreds of thousands of people all by yourself. You need a structure to help carry that out, to manage this. But really the point of the lesson from the Sunday school material, and I think a great thing to hear, is how important it is to hear from other people and to let people speak into our lives, to share things with us that maybe because they're on the outside, maybe because they're not in the middle of it, they see in a way that we don't see. They understand things. They can they can interpret what's going on for us in a way that we can't because we're in the middle of it. And from the outside, they look at it and go, "Oh man, this is crazy. What you're doing is crazy. That's not any good." And they can help us where we just we get caught up sometimes just doing what we do because that's what we started doing, and we never thought about that maybe we shouldn't be doing it. We just started doing it, and then it kind of grew, and then it grew, and then it became this huge thing, and we don't have any way out because we don't have time to think about a way out because we're in the middle of what we're doing. So there's value in having other people that we trust that can speak into our lives, that can share wisdom with us, and then the value in listening to that, in listening. And then I'll say this from the other side of that, Jethro was willing to share what he saw, the wisdom that he had, to share that with Moses, how important that is as well. It goes both ways in this mentoring relationship and learning from other people how valuable that is. We're going to see a lot of that as we go through here, but I think this is a great passage to start with. I hope that's helped. God bless you as you teach and as you study. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like, comment, share with other people. If you've got questions, throw those in. We will see you next time.